I'm going to say something that might upset a few people, and that's okay. You've been lied to. Not in some cliché we live in a simulation kind of way. No. I mean deliberately, methodically, and symbolically lied to. Since the day you were born, you've been surrounded by symbols, etched into money, carved into architecture, baked into pop culture, and you thought they were just designs. They're not. They are messages, markers, warnings, and perhaps worst of all, they are confessions, made in plain sight by those who believe you'll never understand them. Let me ask you something. Have you ever truly looked at the Eye of Horus? Not just seen it, but really looked, followed its lines like a map? Because that's what it is. A map of the human psyche, the universe, and some say, even God. Or have you seen the all-seeing eye floating atop a pyramid, stamped on the back of your dollar bill, and shrugged it off as just a design? Let me make this clear. It is not just a design. It is a claim, a declaration of ownership, of dominion, of surveillance, yes, but even deeper, of a cosmic hierarchy, one where you are not at the top, not even close. This video isn't going to coddle you. We're diving deep into the filth and glory of ancient wisdom, esoteric truth, and yes, the dark confessions of secret societies that have manipulated these symbols for power, for control, and some even believe for spiritual enslavement. And no, this isn't going to be sanitized for your comfort. We're talking Egyptian sorcery, Masonic manipulation, Hollywood ritualism, and even the blasphemous overlap between the sacred and the satanic. If you think the Eye of Horus is a cute tattoo, or that the all-seeing eye is just some old Masonic leftover, then buckle up. Because by the end of this, you'll never look at your money, your religion, or your government the same way again. Let's start with the Eye of Horus, not the myth, not the museum piece version, the truth. See, Horus wasn't just some eagle-headed god flying around in golden sandals. Horus was code. He was the child of war and resurrection, the product of revenge magic. His story starts with Osiris, the king of Egypt, who gets chopped into 14 pieces by his jealous brother Set. Yes, literally dismembered, genitals and all. Isis, the wife of Osiris, manages to recover 13 parts of her husband's body, except for one, his penis. That one was gone, eaten by a fish. So what did she do? She magically reconstructed it and had divine sex with a corpse to give birth to Horus. That's the origin of Horus, born from a necromantic resurrection ritual. And that is the being whose eye you're tattooing on your body. Let that sink in. But the symbolism doesn't stop there. Horus grew up, went toe-to-toe with Set, and lost his eye in battle. That lost eye, it's not just an eyeball. It represents everything you can perceive, all your senses, your awareness, your ability to judge reality. When Thoth, the god of writing, magic, and arguably time itself, restored Horus's eye, he didn't just return sight. He made Horus whole again, and in ancient symbolism, to be whole is to be divine. But the shape of that eye, the mathematical precision of it, that's where it gets chilling. Each part of the Eye of Horus represents one of the 6 senses. Yes, 6, including thought. And each section is a fraction of a whole. Smell equals 1/2. Sight equals 1/4. Thought equals 1/8. Hearing equals 1/16. Taste equals 1/32. Touch equals 1/64. Add them up, it totals 63/64. There's always one piece missing. That missing 1/64? That's you. That's your blind spot. That's the part of you that stays in the dark. Because true awakening, according to the ancient priests, was dangerous. They believed if you became fully aware, 64/64, you would become godlike, and that level of awareness could unravel the world. So they left it incomplete, on purpose. Now here's where it gets even darker. When mapped over a cross-section of the human brain, the Eye of Horus perfectly aligns with the thalamus, the corpus callosum, and the pineal gland, the so-called third eye. Coincidence? No, these priests knew. They weren't worshipping gods the way we think of it today. They were mapping consciousness, activating brain functions, and using rituals to control perception. Think about it. The Eye of Horus wasn't painted on tombs for decoration. It was coded instruction for inner awakening, or manipulation. Now fast forward, from the banks of the Nile to the founding fathers of America. From temples to banknotes, what the hell is the Eye of Providence doing on your dollar bill? The all-seeing eye floating above a 13-stepped pyramid, surrounded by Latin, annuit coeptis, novus ordo seclorum. Translation: He approves our undertakings, a new order of the ages. Not exactly subtle, is it? Here's the problem. People think the all-seeing eye is just about God watching over us. That's surface level. The reality? It's about control, dominion, and hidden hierarchy. The eye is not watching over you. It's watching through you. It's been hijacked, from symbol of divine awareness to a sigil of surveillance, used by elite groups who understand the power of ancient archetypes. This isn't conspiracy theory. This is symbolic warfare. Because here's what they won't tell you. The Eye of Providence was used in Freemasonic lodges, yes, but only after it had already become a tool for those who believe themselves to be the real gods of Earth. The pyramid? That's a hierarchy. The eye at the top? That's who controls it all. And the rest of us? We're bricks. Blind ones. Let me hit you with something controversial. You've already been initiated. Just by using a smartphone, just by walking under CCTV cameras, just by interacting with systems that feed your data to invisible networks, you've already submitted to the all-seeing eye. They don't need to put you in chains. You carry your prison in your pocket. It's not ancient magic anymore. It's algorithmic occultism. You want to know how deep this really goes? Take a look at your favorite artists, actors, celebrities. How many of them have posed with a one-eye symbol, hand covering one eye, illuminated triangle over the eye inside a circle? It's not fashion. It's not coincidence. It's a ritual. Here's the secret. Once a symbol enters mass consciousness, it becomes a ritual tool. It's no longer about what it originally meant. It's about how it programs the mind now. And celebrities, they're the new priests. You don't see it because it's dressed in Gucci and filtered through fame, but you are watching a performance of ancient sigils in music videos, red carpets, photo shoots, even acceptance speeches. There's a reason the likes of Beyoncé, Rihanna, Kanye, Jay-Z, and dozens more flash the pyramid sign or cover one eye. You think they're playing? They're not. It's part of a larger initiation system, not always direct, but symbolic. And those who refuse to play either disappear or get exposed. Think about it. Whitney Houston died in a hotel bathtub surrounded by occult symbolism. Her daughter, Bobby Christina, same cause, same location. Avicii tried to warn the world about child trafficking and elite abuse. Now he's gone. Michael Jackson publicly accused Sony and the music industry of being evil. Gone. Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell, both investigating child trafficking. All dead, all under mysterious circumstances. Are we really supposed to believe these are just coincidences? These are messages. These symbols, the eye, the pyramid, the obelisk, the serpent, the owl, they are the glyphs of empire. And not just political empire. We're talking spiritual empires, systems that use mass media as a weaponized spellbook. It's not that everyone in the industry is a witch or a Satanist, but the industry itself is structured like a cult. You rise by submission, you remain by compliance, you're destroyed by rebellion. The Eye watches everything. Let me tell you about a woman named Carolyn Hamlet. She was born into a multi-generational family tied to what she called the inner circle of global occult power. From a young age, she was involved in rituals, taken to underground locations, and trained to be part of what she calls the Antichrist system, where symbols like the eye were used not just for art, but for invocation. Her story is shocking, dismissed by many, but eerily consistent with others who came forward. There's John Todd, a former high-level occultist in the 70s, who blew the whistle on the entire music industry's connection to witchcraft. He said flat out, "Every major record label is run by witches." He was ridiculed, labeled insane, then he vanished. We have Mark Passio, a former Satanist turned truth seeker. He says the eye is a symbol of spiritual dominion, and those who control it understand the mechanics of consciousness better than the average person can imagine. He claimed that most people in positions of power are not evil in the cartoonish sense, but that they are trained in systems you've never even heard of. They don't just believe in these symbols, they use them. And what about the Vatican? The world's biggest religious institution uses more occult symbols than most satanic temples. The pine cone statue in the Vatican courtyard, pineal gland symbolism, the keys of St. Peter, duality, hidden knowledge, the all-seeing eye in artwork, it's there. Obelisk in St. Peter's Square, that's Egyptian sun worship, Ra. So here's a question. If these symbols were purely Christian, why are they lifted from pagan, Egyptian, Babylonian traditions? Here's the chilling possibility. What if the world's religions, governments, and institutions are playing on the same team, using different masks? What if the Eye of Horus, the Eye of Providence, and the Eye in the Triangle are just versions of the same God? And what if that God isn't God at all? Symbols don't just represent things, they summon them. Ask any real occultist, they'll tell you that symbols, when used correctly, open doors. They're not decoration, they're gateways. Let's talk about Bohemian Grove. Every summer, the most powerful men in the world meet in the California woods. Presidents, billionaires, media moguls. And what do? They perform a ritual called the cremation of care in front of a giant owl statue representing Moloch, the ancient god of child sacrifice. They burn an effigy, maybe symbolic, maybe not, and chant. But it's all in fun, right? That's what they say. And yet, symbolism of owls, eyes, and fire sacrifices shows up again and again in elite culture. Now here's where it gets darker. Take the case of Elisa Lam, the girl found dead in the Cecil Hotel water tank. Her last known footage? Acting like she was being chased by something unseen in the elevator. Her death ruled accidental, but the symbolism around it, off the charts. Cecil Hotel is linked to multiple serial killers. The tank she died in was directly connected to water purification, an ancient baptism symbol. The coincidences with a tuberculosis test named Lam Elisa, too many to ignore. And let's not forget the London 2012 Olympics opening ceremony, supposed to be a celebration of sport, but instead featured giant black wings of death, children in hospital beds, a figure that looked eerily like a grim reaper, a gigantic all-seeing eye-shaped stadium. They weren't hiding it. They were showing you the ritual. And the scariest part, most people cheered. If you've made it this far, you're probably feeling overwhelmed, maybe even paranoid. That's normal. You start to see the symbols everywhere, because they are everywhere. But here's the truth. Most conspiracy channels won't tell you. Not all symbols are evil. Not all who use them are corrupt. And not everything hidden is wicked. The eye, at its origin, was about awareness, enlightenment, divine perception. But symbols are tools. A knife can feed or kill. The problem is who's holding the tool and what their intent is. The eye has been turned into a symbol of control, but it can also be reclaimed as a symbol of awakening. The pyramid doesn't just mean hierarchy. It means ascent, spiritual growth, rising to the divine. So what now? You learn to see. You train your perception. You question what you're shown. You don't take rituals lightly, but you don't demonize every ancient tradition either. You take the power back by educating yourself, not falling into fear and not handing your mind over to systems that want it. Because the truth is, they can only control those who remain blind. But once you see, truly see, you become something they fear. You become the eye itself. Now you know, not just about Horus, or the dollar bill, or some secret handshake society. You know that symbols aren't just drawings. They're tools of control, portals of power, and most people never question them. They wear them, post them, live under them, unaware. But you're not most people. You're awake now. If this message reached you, share it. Let others know the truth, because the more of us that see, the harder it becomes for them to hide. Drop a comment with your thoughts. Let's break this down together. And if you're hungry for more, subscribe. We go deeper than most dare. This isn't entertainment. This is revelation. Stay sharp, stay sovereign, and above all, stay watching. Because the eye is watching you. But now, you're watching back.